There are moments in our lives that we feel completely alone. We feel as though no one knows what we're going through. It is because of the uniqueness of the challenges that confront you are so unique to you that you feel like I'm up against it all by myself.
It's an uphill battle. And along that road, you're not going to see too many friends. You're going to see your shadow most often. See, the thing is, for many people, they've tried the same path you're on, and they failed. As you walk this journey, you're going to see carcasses all over the place of people that didn't quite have it. Is that your success is like a spotlight shining down on their missed opportunities. Success, many will love you for it. The majority will hate you because your success reminds them of where they could have done it, but they came up short and how they didn't revisit it. The difference between a winner and a loser, the failure's there every single time. This is the winner gets back up and does it again until it goes his way. So now you're down that path and you're all alone.
And generally, that type of circumstance is born because it's not because you don't have anybody to talk to, but can you trust them? Eventually, even the most disciplined amongst us, the corners of your mouth will droop down. Your smile will turn into a frown. Eventually, even if you have to wait till everybody's gone to sleep, a tear will run across the bridge of your nose because you're dealing with stuff that is so deep and so complicated that you feel like you're in it by yourself. But you are not alone in the battle. You're not alone in the struggle, that God has a strategy. And when it's all over, you're going to see that even though you couldn't see him, he was there all the time.
I promise you guys, if today you never say good enough, tomorrow you'll always have enough. What I'm saying is the character of who you are. The character defines the success, defines the fame, and it starts right there. Championships aren't won in the theater or the arena. They're won in the thousands of hours in the training room, in the labs, in the 5 a.m. runs, when everyone else is sleeping. That's when it's won. The heart of a champion is a light switch that's always on. It doesn't go on and off when someone's watching. It's constant. It begins right now with no one looking, man. And how you hold yourself, how you see yourself. What do you do when no one's watching? If you do it then, I guarantee you, you'll be doing it when everyone's watching.
Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. It's not your fault if your partner cheated and ruined your marriage, but it is for damn sure your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and how to overcome that and build a happy life for yourself. As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, you are stuck in suffering. The road to power is in taking responsibility.
Take full responsibility for what happens to you. Accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood. Learn to reap in the fall without apology if you do well, and without complaint if you don't. That's maturity. I used to have that long list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. I blame my negative relatives. They were always putting me down. I blame my cynical neighbors. They're just selfish, looking out for themselves. Won't loan you money? I used to blame the economy. I blame the community. That's a pretty good list for not doing well, isn't it?
The road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
Taking responsibility, accepting responsibility is not an admission of guilt. Taking responsibility is a recognition of the power that you seize when you stop blaming people. It's not like you're letting somebody who wronged you off the hook. Taking responsibility is taking your power back.
A few months later, I learned very quickly to tear up my list, reasons for not doing well, and I threw it away. And I got me a fresh piece of paper, and I put one word on it. Me. There's a black heritage spiritual that says it's not my mother nor my father, nor my brother nor my sister, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not what happens, it's what you do. If anything can go wrong, it will. That's one of Murphy's laws. So here's one of the key questions of the evening. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? Now see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? Because the next 5 are going to be like the last 5 unless you, major key, tomorrow, change it all. Or change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life.
We go through the actions of commitment, but we're not really committed. We're not really connected. We're not really joined because we have no understanding of our responsibility to any relationship. You cannot have true relationship without reciprocity. You cannot get into a relationship to get and not give. You collect anniversaries, you've got a lot of birthdays, but you've never been the person that you could be because the could be is locked up behind commitment, and until you're committed, you'll never get the could be. Wonder what would have happened in school if you'd been committed. Wonder what would have happened in your marriage if you'd have really thrown your whole self. You've always been casual.
In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself? See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently. If you're on a job, 85% of Americans go to jobs that they're unhappy. If you're doing something 8 hours a day that you don't like, it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you a strong feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment. If that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions. Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing. Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there. See, there are certain things that's got to be in place. They got to see it all together. And life isn't like that. That's not how you grow. As you begin to look toward the future, begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side. Will it be easy? No. Will you have some opposition? Yes. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt. Pain is everywhere. But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of being criticized, the pain. That's called life. But guess what? There's no gain without pain.
If you don't know exactly what you want, or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? Why you're doing it? Because you know what? You may get a big goal. Somebody says, I want to make $1 billion. I want to bring peace to the earth. Why? Because as soon as you come up with a goal, all the obstacles show up. So you got to get yourself past that. And the way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first. Answers come second. Task intelligent, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans. If the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work.
That's a pain. Don't you know that's something? When you know, I was in a seminar once and this lady stood up. If I had my life to live over again, she talked about all of the things that she would do. And you can feel the pain of regret in her voice. She was trying not to experience the pain of defeat, the pain of disappointment, the pain of loss, and she still experienced pain. It was right there. Most people are governed by their habits, their fears, and the opinions of others. A lot of people never try anything differently because they have been convinced by people in their lives that they value that they can't do it. They're living within the context of the opinions that other people have of them. The low expectations. Many people doubt themselves because when they thought about doing something at some critical point in their lives, somebody they respected and honored, someone they trusted said, "You can't do that." And they accepted that.
We had done is the voice of regret, speaking in a sorrowful tone at a time when there is no going back. This is regret.
Why do we live our life to be validated so much by strangers? Why do we let these people dictate how we feel about ourselves? Our self-esteem, our worth depends on if they like it or not. Who cares? Those people ain't gonna be there when times get hard. Those people don't even like you. Half of them don't. Those people don't really care about you.
When you're about to make those extreme jumps and leaps, it's always going to be your friends and your family. They will be the first ones to try and talk you out of what God has put on your heart to do.
If you got anything left, you ought to stop right where you are and give God some praise. I made some mistakes, but I got something left. I almost died, but I got something left. Been through a divorce, but I got something left. Had to send my children back home, but I got something left. Moved back here with my mama, but I got something left.
I don't know what kind of odds are against you today, physically, financially. I don't know what kind of storm has come or trying to come into your life. If you wait too long to decide what you're going to do with your life, you'll find out that you've already done it. You have to learn to start where you are. Big doors swing on little hinges.
When you start renaming it and you start reframing it and you choose to remain in it, what happens is you produce this word. It's called resiliency. The righteous man, he falls 7 times, but he gets back up. I'm choosing today to get back up, to remain in the grind.
We all have these tough moments in life. And see, they can make you or they can break you. Come on now. Come on, bring it. Come on now. I had to replace fearfulness with being fearless and take the initiative to do something else. You're a force to be reckoned with. You have greatness in you. Yes, I'm going for it. There are more lives for me to touch, more lives for me to transform.
If you only knew all the things God has refused to let happen to you. You may have had some bad breaks, but just the fact that you're still here is a sign God's favor is on your life. There may be obstacles trying to stop you now. You don't understand it. It's because there's greatness in you. The enemy doesn't come against people that don't have anything. If you weren't a threat, he'd leave you alone. Yes, I have big obstacles, but I know it's because I have a big destiny. Had some bad breaks, but they could not finish me off. I'm still standing.
Many times when God starts training you, he trains you with trouble, exposing you to various degrees of frustrating situations and then critiquing your response so that you can learn how you should have handled this particular situation.
Step back and ask yourself the question, what do I do that's absolutely amazing? What do I do that's effortless to me? And what makes me feel confident? Figure that out. Whatever that may be, hold on to that and focus in on that and anchor into it. So when you do go into this new skill, realize it's a process, just like the other skills you've learned on your journey. The more you practice something, the better you get at it.
Now do your part. Stay in faith. Don't go around complaining about what didn't work out, what you didn't get. God will make up for what was unfair. He will pay you back for the wrongs that were done. He's a God of justice.
We all get the same amount in a day. Every day is 24 hours. And some people are very, very fruitful and effective, and some people just waste their time day after day after day. And that's a choice that we make. But there's one thing about time. Once it goes by, you never get it back. So how tragic it is to waste any day of your life. I think we need to live every day like it was our very last one, and live it to the absolute fullest that we can live it.
Commit yourself to learning. Feed your mind. Sharpen your interest in two major subjects, life and people. Learn more on how to get the most from life. Learn all that you can so that you can become all that you can become. Learning is the beginning of a life worth living. Learning is the beginning of happiness. Learning is the beginning of spirituality and faith. Learning and searching is where the process of creating your own personal miracle begins.
Greatness does not have to have the approval of everyone. And if you are the kind of person that will have to have the approval of everyone and understanding of everyone, you'll never achieve greatness. Greatness is uncommon. Greatness is not something that you see a lot. It distinguishes you from the crowd. It makes you stick out when you become great.
Disappointments will come. Betrayals, things that are not fair will come. How you deal with these offenses will determine whether you move forward or whether you get stuck, bitter over what didn't work out.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us.
If you have a support system in place, that's beautiful. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't really see what you see, but I'm in full support of you. Go make it happen. But in most cases, if you open up your mouth trying to explain to people what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, they will be the first people to try and talk you out.
Find somebody close enough to you that has observed you or been around you, that you value their opinion, and ask them, how do they see you? And then compare what you have with what they say. See, there are things many times that people can see in us that we can't see because it's a blind spot.
If you're always seeking a certain status to validate who you are, you're never going to have peace. You can't climb up to find yourself. You have to find yourself so you can climb up. So you can be who you are before anybody knows who you are.
Our dreams, the lack of sacrifice, the lack of suffering in our lives, its removal, its non-existence also equates to a non-existence of a great life. And so embrace the fact that you're going to have to sacrifice and suffer to some extent. Once you've embraced that it's going to happen, it's almost not that bad. It's kind of like those of you that are fit. You've sort of accepted that before you go to the gym and get there, you're going to have to suffer. And we go anyway. It becomes a habit.
It takes discipline to change a habit, because habits are formed a little bit each day, every day. Once habits are formed, they act like a giant cable that only long-term disciplined activity can change. It takes the consistent application of a new discipline, a more desirable one, to overcome one which is less desirable. We must unweave every strand of the cable of habits slowly and methodically.
If it does not measure up to my expectations, I'm not going to invest my time. I don't have the luxury to waste time. I'm expecting some great things from life. So examine your expectations versus your wishes. Some people wish they could do better, but some people expect to do better. Where are you on that?
I've learned life is full of wounded people. People that haven't dealt with the negative things in their past. At times they'll be disrespectful. You can't stop the offense from coming, but you can keep it from getting down in you. How much more could you accomplish if you would start letting things go? How much better relationships would you have if you would get emotionally healthy? If you would let go of what people said?
Time is an amazing power. Every day, week, month, or year is a gift given to us by God to complete a task.
The human mind isn't used merely because we take it for granted. Familiarity breeds contempt. It can do any kind of job we assign to it, but generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big important ones. Decide now. What is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you'll ever make in your entire life.
Oh, when you give as much time and energy to your dream, to this new vision of yourself, I'll give you all your eyes can see. When you give as much time and energy to what you see, that creates the opening for miracles, surely.
Do you want to be an outstanding salesman, a better worker at your particular job? Do you want to go places in your company, in your community? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind. Care for it. Work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality.
Dream chasing isn't for the serious. It's for the sincere. And the difference between being serious and being sincere is that serious people have a can-do attitude. Sincere people have a must-do attitude. That's how dreams become reality. They become a must. My children must survive. My life must change.
Now, if knowledge is power, if knowledge is the forerunner to success, then why do we fall short of our objectives? Do we find ourselves aimlessly wandering, settling for a life of existence rather than a life of substance? There may be many answers to this question. Fundamental answer is the absence of discipline.
Motivate doesn't mean to yell and scream and encourage. To motivate actually means to provide a motive, a reason why.
Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal.
You know, what would you want from your friendships? What would you want from your intimate relationship? How would you like to structure your family? Well, how are you going to use your time outside of your job? And how are you going to regulate your mental and physical health, and maybe also your drug and alcohol use?
Typically, discouragement strikes at the midpoint of a project. Halfway up the mountain, you go, I still got to get to the top, and then I got to get all the way back. We get discouraged when something takes longer than I expected.
Once you start becoming aware of the power of thought, just look around you at everything that you see. It all began with a thought. We become what we think about. And that is probably one of the most important principles in learning to manifest. What we have to look at is basically the obstacles that we have conditioned ourselves. And you notice I say that we have conditioned ourselves, because I have never believed that we need to be putting the responsibility on someone else. If you're conditioned, it's because you have allowed yourself to become that.
You know, if you start with the presumption that there's a baseline of suffering in life and that can be exaggerated as a consequence of human failing, as a consequence of malevolence and betrayal and self-betrayal and deceit and all those things that we do to each other and ourselves that we know that aren't good, that amplifies the suffering. But you need something to put up against that. And what you put up against that is meaning. Meaning is actually the instinct that helps you guide yourself through that catastrophe. And most of that meaning is to be found in the adoption of responsibility.
Anticipation is the ultimate advantage. Winners, leaders anticipate, losers react. The reason you get beat is you don't know where things are happening, so you're reacting. Reaction is always stressful. And yet so much of our life is predictable. If we just were to study it, not be caught up in our day-to-day. It's predictable the challenges you're going to have in your relationships or with your kids or with your body. These are predictable. And if you were to anticipate these things and put a strategy in place, you could take it all out and have the quality of life that you deserve. Those that anticipate, those that lead, and then there's those that follow. The followers are the reactionaries.
things that look like they're going to overwhelm you, remember this phrase. You are stronger than you think. God knew it was coming. He's already put things on the inside that you can't see right now, but at the appointed time, you're going to push back the dirt. You're going to come out of what's holding you back. Not like you were, but you're going to bloom. Don't be fooled by the dirt. The dirt is getting you ready to flourish.
The system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable. Our world is and always will be a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards and a life of discipline. Each has its own price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. We will pay one or the other.
Somebody said there is some good in the worst of us and some bad in the best of us. I want you to become involved in an active process to get some clutter out of your life. Start working on it. I'm going home tonight to clean my closets. Let's go home. Let that be our task this week.